Om. 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 Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena gratitam purana munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayiniim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Namostu te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullarabindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsah Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mad Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Bhishmadrona Tata Jayadratha Jala Gandhara Nilotpala Shalyagrahavati Krupena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwathama Vikarna Ghora Makara Duryodhana Vartini Suttirna Khalu Pandavairananadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha Parasharya Vachas Saroja Mamalam Gitartha Gandhotkatam Nanakyanaka Kesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairahara Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyat Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradhvamsina Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langhayate Girim Yatkrupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sangapadakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita. We almost concluded the study of the 14th chapter, which is an important chapter for sadhakas, for spiritual aspirants, because therein Sri Krishna has described in great detail the forces that stop us from reaching the ultimate goal of life, namely God realization, to become one with the divine. So in the 14th chapter, Sri Krishna began by saying that I will tell you the secret knowledge, or I will give you the one of the great secrets which is exalted for all beings, for all living beings. So, having said that, Sri Krishna says that we all need to go beyond the hold of the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. From tamas, that means from insolence, from being lethargic, from being foolish, one must graduate to becoming active, physically, mentally, as well as spiritually active. Of course, spiritual activity takes place mostly in sattva. So, physically and mentally, one should become quite active. That is why we have the different yogas, Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga, etc., etc., so that one can practice something with great energy, with great interest, and then move forward towards the spiritual aspect, that is to become pure. That is the idea that Sri Krishna has represented in the 14th chapter. Then Sri Krishna, as is common with all of us, we will always ask the question, what will I gain by practicing this? You are asking us, you are giving us a tall order, as it were. So what will I gain by doing that? Sri Krishna says, Brahmanaha pratishta aham amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. See, he says, if you practice this, what will happen is, you will be established in Brahman. Pratishtha means establishment, or Pratishtha also means the very base or the root, deep rooted. And what will that give me? Amrita. Amarana Shila iti Amrita. That means you will not be afraid of death anymore. You will go beyond the fear of dying. One of the greatest fears, or the greatest fear in all of us, is the fear of dying. What will happen when I die? Do I cease to exist, or would I be born again, as we Hindus say? Will I be reincarnate? Will I be reincarnating in some other form? All of these questions comes to us. So Sri Krishna says, well, once you go beyond the hold of these three gunas, you will become established pratishtha in amritasya. That means in that state where you will be deathless. That means to say, you will not have any separate existence from me. You will become fearless. First of all, we become fearless. That is one thing. Secondly, we will become eternal, or we will experience that I am that eternal being, I am the eternal self. Avyayasya cha. He also uses the term avyaya. That means that which does not wane or wax, does not reduce, nor does it increase. That joy. This is one fear we all have in our life also. When we enjoy something, we are afraid that we will lose that joy after the period. All of us have this fear. So, avyaya, it is nothing that you can spend away, nor something that you can put in, or not you can add in. So, avyayasya cha. And then, dharmasya shashvata dharma. He says, shashvata dharma means the eternal dharma, eternal religion or virtue. You will attain to that eternal virtue or eternal state. Dharma also means state. You will attain to that eternal state where ekantikasya cha sukham. It means you will have that sovereign feeling of being totally joyful and free from all concerns and worries. So it is both a A sadhana for us, that is to say, first of all, we must have that conviction that I am a part and parcel of Brahman, Pratishtha. That means that conviction, deep rooted conviction that I am a part and parcel of the divine, and that I am Amrita, that this birth and death that I am afraid of is not something that I need to be concerned about, because I am as the self, I am free from all of this birth and death. And then avyayasya cha, that means there is no losing anything nor gaining anything. And then shashvata dharmasya, that means I become so much established in the glory of my own being, that essence of my own being, that the joy I will be full of the joy. I said last time, one of the titles of one of the books is The Joy of the Illumined. That means joy of the person who has got enlightenment. So that is what it is. There is infinite joy that is flowing freely. Not only does it flow freely for himself, but it also flows freely to everyone. When you go to a realized soul, that is one thing which you will feel, that his or her love is boundless. It is flowing so freely. You cannot but be affected by the flow of that joy. You will forget. Many a times I have heard some devotees saying, oh, I went to such and such a Swami or such and such a holy person, and when I was there, I completely forgot all of my concerns or worries. Even my own existence I forgot, because I got so immersed by it. That's how it is. It is like a big, great flood which will flood your whole life. Shashvatasya cha dharmasya. So purity, you will be achieving purity, you will achieve calmness and peacefulness. So this is a very active experience that every one of us will have. We are all, no doubt, feeling that we are bound, that no doubt. But we also have the key to release this bondage. That's what it is. The key is, as this ekantikasya cha, the aspiration. That means I want to become free. I want to go out, break the bonds. I want to get out of it. You know, a lion was caged, and along with the other lions, and this lion, any aged lion, it was always looking towards the door. And when others who were very happy with their playing with each other and just eating the meat that was served to them, they were extremely happy. We don't have to go and search for food. They are very happy over there. But then this one would not touch any food. It was always looking towards the door of the gates of that cage. And when somebody asked him, why are you always looking towards the cage, towards the door of the cage? He said, I am building my calculations within my mind how I can force myself out of this cage. See, calculating how much of pressure do I have to apply in order for the cage to be breached, and how much of energy do I need it, and how I can do with which angle I should go and hit the cage. All of this, it is just a story, but it has got a great meaning in our life. So there is that cage to be broken. It has to be broken, or we have to ourselves do that job. Guru definitely will come and help you by giving you the key to it, but you need to open the key. You do not expect the Guru to open the lock as well. We need to open the lock, and that we can do by going beyond the effect of the three, and thus we will be able to go beyond the effect of the three gunas. So Bhagavad Gita has a path for everyone. It has a solution for everybody. See? And through the paths of karma, bhakti, jnana and yoga, we can reach to the desired goal by following any one of those paths or all of them together. Ideally, one should follow all of them together, but some people can take one path as the most important one and can go towards it. So Sri Krishna starts the description of the path of Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, in the 13th chapter. In the 13th chapter, which we studied as the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, the division of the known, that is the external world, Kshetra, and Kshetrajna, the knower of this one. See, I am the knower of this microphone, and the known thing is the microphone itself. So I always have the separation between the microphone and myself. I always have to have this separation. But sometimes what we do is we forget that it is just another instrument and that we just have to make use of the instrument, but we should not become bound by it. We should not become attached to it. That's what we don't do in our normal life. We think that our whole soul is there in the object. No, that is not something that is something which we should try to avoid here. So, in the 15th chapter, Sri Krishna tells us that the most important thought that should always occupy our mind is that of the self. The most important thought. All great saints and seers of all times, they have always pointed out to this one thing, that at all times, that means in whatever status you are, in whatever situation you are, just become aware. Become aware of the divinity that is within yourself. That is the most important thing. Once we do that, slowly and slowly, that awareness will become expansive. It will expand our whole being, as it were. Then somebody will, if somebody asks you, who are you? If I ask you who you are, you would immediately say your name. You would immediately say what you are. That you are, a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is. But how many of us are there who can immediately say, I am the self, I am the Atman, that I am the divine, I am a part and parcel of the divine. Or at least, how many of us can say with great conviction, I am a child of the divine? Not many of us do that. So, Sri Krishna is trying to enforce this discipline in us by trying to recognize recognize the existence of the divinity that is within every one of us. Associating myself, the Jiva, with the Paramatma, Jivatman, the individual soul, with the Paramatman, the Supreme Soul. That is what our scriptures say. There is a very famous scriptural sentence, scriptural phrase which says, Tat Tvam Asi, that you are, that thou art. That's how it is translated. So, Tvam Pada, Tvam means you, that means the individual soul, embodied soul. Tvam Tat, Tat is that. That is the supreme being. That you are. And it is indeed so. You are that, nothing more or nothing less than that. So this must be understood, and Sri Krishna is trying to enforce this discipline in us of asserting within ourselves the nature of the divine. That I am basically divine in nature. So in concluding, when he concluded the 14th chapter, Sri Krishna describes the unwavering single-pointed devotion. How can I attain to that state? He says by ekantikasya, a single-pointed devotion, and it must be unwavering. If it is wavering, then it is not a realization. It must be totally one-pointed. See, and that is the only way to go beyond the realm. Sri Ramakrishna used to give the example of a needle and a thread. If you want to put the thread through the needle, the head of the needle, what should you do? You should make sure that the end of the thread is pointed. That is what it is. If it has got fibers hanging around it, it will not be able. It will not enter through the eye of the needle. So we need to make sure that the ekantikasya, that means my love towards the divine is free from all these attachments. So that is what he is trying to say here. And that will happen to us. It does happen. It will happen. It will happen to us only when we are convinced that the divine alone is the reality. See, we talk a lot, we discuss a lot, no doubt, but how many of us really have got that conviction that God alone is real? No, not even 0.00001%. Not even one of that. That's why Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlavaha. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After going through many, many births, births may mean here the rebirths, that is physical rebirth, but also spiritual birth. That means after going through trials and tribulations, even in this very life, see, sometimes we die every day. We die every day also. So we are back, we are alive. And then, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. A person who is endowed with this knowledge that the divine alone exists. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Everything that you see, everything that you feel, everything that you experience is the divine. Then you will be able to reach to that divine. So, Sri Krishna says in that last verse, as I said, this unwavering single-pointed devotion is the way to go. If we want to go beyond the realm of the name and form, Nama, Rupa, if we want to go beyond this duality that we are experiencing day by day, day to day. So if I need to buy something, for example, I need to be able to know how much it costs, and also after knowing the cost, I must know how much is there in the bank for me to spend. Otherwise we will be debtors, no doubt. So similarly, if I need to know the topic of the unity between myself and the divine, I must be able to understand what is the divine, what is the tattva, what is the essence beyond all of that. See, till then it will only be theoretical. It will be only theoretical. So even in theory also we need to understand what I am going for, what I am achieve, or what I will achieve if I practice this. So this 15th chapter points us to the real nature of the Supreme Self. One must go beyond the subject-object relationship in order to realize the highest. You and me should merge into that. Or he, you can even say. You and me should merge and become he. The body, the mind, etc., all of them. That's what yoga also is. Yoga is nothing but this unity between the subject and the object. A time will come when the object will disappear, only the subject will remain. Only the divine will remain. Just like the camel of the Arab. You know? The Arab was in a desert with the camel, and then the camel, it was a cold night, and there was breeze all over, and so the camel said, the Arab had put on his tent. He had planted his tent over there, and then as he went to sleep, he heard a knock. Said the camel was saying to the Arab, "Sir, it is very cold out here, and you are enjoying the warmth inside inside your tent. So can you, my nose is very sensitive. So can you allow just my nose to get inside so that it is warm?" So the Arab said, "It's all right. There is a window over here. So you can put your nose through that window." So he allowed it. The nose went inside. Slowly and slowly said, "The nose has become warm, no doubt, but now my eyes have become very cold. So shall I insert my eyes inside?" "Yes, you can." Then he said, "Can I put my ear inside?" "Yes, you can." And slowly the camel said, "Now I am coming in, you get out." So in the same way, when the divine enters into our being, wherein we have captured this tent as it were, then the divine will say, "All right, I am coming in, you get out." You, that means the individual, get out. Just before entering into this, there one more thought. In the 13th chapter, Sri Krishna talks about kshetra and kshetrajna. That means the object and the subject relationship. So we always interact with the world that is always in a state of flux, which is continuously changing. Everything is changing. The body is changing, the environment is changing, everything keeps on changing. But we can recognize the changing phenomena only when we have steadiness, or when we ourselves are firmly rooted. So kshetra and kshetrajna is that concept wherein one knows that the object is fleeting and that it is going to go away, and that the subject alone will remain. But when we can recognize it as changing only when we are steady and do not involve in the moment. In this chapter, 15th chapter, Sri Krishna first describes how to cut off the kshetra, how to cut off this object. And he talks about having the sword of knowledge, sword of non-attachment, as the tool by which you can cut off this thing, this world. Then he points out to us that every jiva, every being is a spark of the divine, despite all the differences that we see, because these differences come by entanglements. Chit jada granthi, this is a technical word that is used in the scriptures. Chit and jada granthi. Granthi means a knot of the chit, that means the consciousness, and jada, that means the Jada is inert object. So we are caught up in this mire of the object and the subject also. Sometimes it is clear for us, we see clearly that the world is temporary, transitory, and that it does not hold any essence. But at other times, we think that what we feel, what we see, what you experience outside alone is true. See, this is called as Chit Jada Granthi. The consciousness gets entangled in this mire of the world. So, Sri Krishna is saying in this first verse, Urdhvamulam Adhashakam, there he says, you must somehow remove this. You must somehow cut off the root itself. So we will enter into the first verse here. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said, the blessed Lord said, Urdhvamulam Adhashakam Ashvatham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. Urdhvamulam Adhashakam. See, Sri Krishna has brought up the imagery of a tree. And it's very unique. It's a very unique example that he is bringing out, or he is demonstrating to us. What does he say? Urdhvamulam adhashakam ashvatham prahu avyayam. The scriptures speak of the eternal Ashvatha, the world tree, whose roots are in the most high. Chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda savedavit. The branches in the lower regions and leaves the Vedic hymns. Yastam veda savedavit. He who knows it understands the Veda really. There's a lot of words which are quite difficult to understand, because first of all it is Sanskrit, and secondly it's very cryptic. So that's why we will try to understand this in some detail. First of all he says, Urdhvamulam adhashakam ashvatham prahu avyayam. This world he compares to a tree called Ashvatha. What is Ashvatha tree? Ashvatha is the ficus tree. That is, it's a kind of ficus. So here we see it here. We also call it the Bodhi tree, Bodhi Vriksha. In Hindi we call it as Pippal. People or Pippal. People tree is also called in English as people tree. So it is the Ficus religiosa, and it's a very important tree in Hindu mythology. It is an important tree in many religions of the world. Buddhism, for example, under which the Buddha found his enlightenment. So Urdhvamulam, and Sri Krishna says, what is the nature of this world? That the roots are above and the branches are down below. Normally what we notice is that the branches are in the ground, and then roots, thank you. Roots are in the ground, and then the branches and the head or the top is above. Yeah. So Urdhvamulam. So he says here it is the opposite. This world is the opposite. Its roots are in the divine. That means God alone has become everything. Without the divine presence, there is no life. So the roots are the ones which carry life to a plant, isn't it? It carries the soil, it carries the nutrients, it carries the water and all of that. So the divine is the one who is the very origin or the very basis of this universe. Urdhvamulam, adhaha shakham. Shakham means that is the branches. What are the branches? Here he compares it to the scriptures. Adhaha shakham. Ashwatham. Ashwatha means there is a Sanskrit etymology. Etymological meaning is na shvaha sthaha. Na means not. Shvaha. Shvaha means tomorrow or the day after. Sthaha means will not be existing. Na shvaha sthaha. This universe is such that it appears to you as if it is very real, but once you know the divine, once you experience the presence of the divine, this universe will not exist tomorrow. That is, what will exist? Only a semblance of it will exist, but in reality, the divine alone exists. The ultimate being alone exists. Na shvastaha. Ashwatham prahu avyayam. That means this universe or this divine is that which cannot be spent. Vyaya means to spend. Ashwatham prahuravayam. Chandamsi yasya parnani. How would I know about this, the presence of the divine in this universe? Chandamsi. Chandas means the Vedas. Vedas are the scriptures. The scriptures reveal to us about the nature of the divine, about how to reach the divine. But of course, the effort must be made by you and me, by us individuals. It may give you the information, Chandas can give you the information, but it cannot take you to the destination. It cannot take you to the destination. So he says, Chandamsi asya parnani yaha tam veda sa veda vit. So once you know that the reality of this universe, then you will become a Vedavit. That means a knower of the Vedas. So when Sri Ramakrishna, when Yam, the author of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, went to meet Sri Ramakrishna in his room in Dakshineshwar, there was Brinda. The Brinda was a maid servant who used to light the lamps and then clean the yard, etc. In those days it was all oil lamps. See? So it was her duty. By the evening she would go to all the rooms and all that, and then she would light up the lamp, and also during the day she will clean everything. And she was sitting outside Sri Ramakrishna's room, and Yam goes and then he asks Brinda, well, is the Paramahamsa in? She says, yes, he is inside. And then looking at the time, he says, oh, probably this is the time for him to practice his meditation or his evening prayers. So Brinda says, no, my child, don't worry. He is always absorbed in the divine thoughts. So you can go to him any time. There is no particular time for him to meditate. You can go. Then, out of curiosity, he asks Brinda, perhaps this Paramahamsa reads a lot? And Brinda says, what do you say? Reading? No. All the scriptures are on his tongue. Brinda, Yam had never heard this. He was a Western educated person. He was himself a teacher and later the principal of that school. And he had never heard that somebody can know everything without reading books. See, here Veda has come and stayed on his tongue, as it were. Veda has almost come and stayed on his tongue. Yastam Veda Saveda with it. Does not need any books. Yes, books are guidelines, no doubt. But if a person even verbally can tell you where the path is, how to go towards it, that is good enough. So that's what happens here. Yastam Veda Saveda. One who knows the reality, he is known as the knower. He is known as the Brahmavit. It's a very difficult word to translate. Brahmavit with means knower of Brahma. That means Brahman or the reality is the very knower of it. He who knows it understands the Veda really. Then the books will become useless for you. Books are necessary for you to be guided, no doubt. But once you reach the destination, or once you know the path very clearly, like when you come here first time, you use the GPS. Naturally, if you are coming from far, you don't know the place, you will use the GPS. But after you know the place, you will not use the GPS to come here again, except that you want to know what is the traffic condition. That's a different thing. But you will just come without even having the GPS. Similarly, the books, etc., the knowledge that we receive from the external world is only useful for you up to the time that you reach the destination. Once you reach the destination, you have become one with the destination itself. You have become one with reality itself. So we will stop here today, because this will need a little more explanation, little more study, and then in the next verse, Sri Krishna is talking about how this tree of life is nourished. That is, the gunas are the ones which nourish it, and one who goes beyond all the gunas, he will be totally be free from any of the developments of this universe. That is to say, you will become free from the very the trials and tribulations that bother us. See, that the trials and tribulations and the difficulties that bother us, one will become free from all of that. We will study that next Sunday. Shantakaram Bhujakashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogiridhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatam. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We will be celebrating the Guru Purnima this Thursday. We will have a worship and then talk by Swami Mahabodhananda on the Guru, and then we will have bhajans and prasad distribution, arati and prasad distribution. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the 10th of July, Thursday. All are welcome. Om Shanti Shanti.